Hey, 501, happy Sunday evening. I know it's a little late. We had family over all day, and though it's all good, I was ready to get going and giving you guys some information. I want to start this week not by hitting on the announcements, but just doing a quick recap, bouncing over to week 2. You see, I have a lot of tabs open, so I hope this doesn't get too long. But I want to scroll down, and there was so much content, and it's so good. First of all, quick talk about the discussions. They've been really good. The content has been good. The one thing I'll say is make sure you're looking at the rubric for the discussion post because um, you do need to hit an initial post if there's one or two discussion posts and a response before the end of Sunday evening. So make sure you're getting the frequency in. And once again, I would say front load your week with some of that if you can. I know some of it's dependent on the content, but the conversation back and forth has been really, really good. Kendra, I know you were the lead for this collaborative exercise. Make sure you share that with me. It's not a graded thing, but I would love for you to share that with me. You don't need to submit it, just share through Google Docs. And then make sure you guys are emailing me your checkpoint too. I will be going through that on the next day or two and giving you any feedback just to make sure you're on target. So I just wanted to do a quick hit there. And then also your social media starter kit. Those of you that have turned in or submitted me your profile, I've already graded it, and they were awesome. You guys are obviously understand Twitter and the power of it. So that was just a quick recap for week 2. Week 3, want to start out with another quote of one of my fave movies. We're all pretty bizarre. Some of us are just better at hiding it. That's all. And that's Andrew in The Breakfast Club. And I will tell you, working with middle schoolers every day, I do tell them that we don't change that much from middle school through adulthood. We just get better at hiding those things we don't want people to see and accentuating the things we do want them to see. And so as an educator, embrace your uniqueness and your weirdness because really that's the memory that students are really going to take with them is not the average or the normal, but it's the unique. So hopefully that's helpful for you to hear. Our content, we have a couple different reading. We have the chapter, a couple readings in some of the other books, and then also a video from Simon Sinek, and who, he's all over TED Talk and all over YouTube, so it's a great video. The discussion questions I'll bounce over on their own tab. And I'll bounce through all of these on their own tab as well. One note right here is an article I'm going to go through. I didn't know exactly where to put it, so I'll open it up. But here is the article on infographic tools because you're using those for some of your posts. So week 3, like I said, you have chapter 3 in the Sir Ken Robinson text, and then also a few pages, just 2 and 1 page on the Brumbaugh information. And then there's the video right there. You can watch it, click it right there. Once again, don't forget about the self-paced lessons. They do look a little antiquated, but they're not. There's a lot of good information. And so this week for our collaborative exercise, there's a new collaborative exercise around infographics, and Kevin is going to go ahead and be the lead on that. And so if you click right there, it'll take you to the instructions. Let's see, there I already have it open. And so what you're going to do is, it's not going to be a different group. It's just, since there's only 4 of you, Kevin's going to be the lead this week. So Kevin, you need to set up the doc and share it out as well. And you can add me on there as a view only. That way I can see it. So talk about what makes a good infographic. In a Google Sheet, you can actually go in a Google Doc if you want with a table, but a Google Sheet, use your rank to rank infographic examples and how well they represent a good infographic. And then it says share it with me. Search online for at least 10 examples of infographics, and then create a table in a Google Doc in which you list each link you found to the infographic and show your group's rankings. So I would recommend in that table, just put them 1 to 10. That's the easiest way to do that. And so actually don't use a doc for task 1. Use a sheet, and then on task 3, you're going to use a doc. So Kevin, go ahead and set those up and share them out. And like I said, you can put me as comment only, not view only, but comment only, because if I need to put a comment in there, it'd be great for me to be able to do that. So that's your collaborative exercise. So let me bounce over to the discussions. You have 2 this week. And the first one is looking back at your social media starter kit, which was an assignment due in week 2. Share one resource from one of the authors of creating a Google Apps classroom. And so it gives you all their handles right there. So you pop real quick, link to their tweet, and share how this resources can be integrated into a school or classroom. School is fine, but if you can relate it back to your own individual classroom, that's so much more powerful. And try to do that early on in the week. That way, it gives more time for discussion around that idea. And then discussion question 2 talks about uses Sir Ken Robinson's idea of involving and promoting art education. And so, really relating to your current role, your current classroom, or if you're a TOSA, how can you promote arts? And so that's really broad, but a great discussion. And I know actually in week 2, a lot of discussions around arts in the classroom were really good. And so I don't think that'll be an issue for any of you because you guys are just killing it already. Being a 21st educator, I have my own thoughts. You can listen to Sean for a little while on his thoughts. My big thing is we talk about 21st century education like it's coming, and it's already here, right? It's just education now. So be kind of, when you watch this and also look at the quotes, just be processing how you are going to interact with the idea of 21st century education, because that phrase is used a lot, but it's here. It's not something that we're working towards. It's something that we're doing. And so maybe process a little bit how you're going to take that idea that it's not something in the future, it's something current, and how you can explain that to people you interact with. So looking ahead, actually we're gonna do. I'm gonna pop over to your paper that's due this week. Paper assignment number 2, research paper on the elements of a 21st century education. So it's worth 45 points. It's a pretty big chunk there, and you're gonna upload it via Blackboard. I know some people have had issues uploading or some questions on how Blackboard works. I think everyone's got it figured out, but I will do a screencast this week to put it up there as a resource. Just remember that you're not typing your paper in the submit, and you're not attaching a PDF. That's really hard. What you're going to do is, if you're using Google Docs, you'll download it as a Word doc, and you'll upload it into the submit file. And that way I can read it, and I can actually make comments right on your paper or in your rubric. So it's about 1,000 words, somewhere around there. Don't forget your APA formatting, which all of you have been doing a really good job on. And then these are the sections. Introduction, so what's causing changes to education, what's the elements of 21st century learning, and then what's your opinion. Section 1 and 2 really shouldn't use a lot of personal pronouns. In academia, we really don't use personal pronouns except for when you're talking about your own opinion or your own philosophy, which one of your assignments did use. But that third part definitely can, because it's asking for your opinion on it. And then make sure to go through the rubric, because that's how you're going to be graded. Right there is all the key pieces you want to make sure you hit. As always, if you have any questions, reach out to me. So that was that. Looking ahead, once again, you have the city online certification coming up. I believe that is in week 4, due week 4, yes. And then in week 5, you have to create an infographic. And so, there's all the information you need on this. As you're looking through it, any questions, reach out to me. I actually need to do it myself since it's brand new, so I'll be trying to do that this week as well. And then assignment 4, which is due week 5, create an infographic, and it really goes through it. I'm not going to read it now since it's a couple weeks out. But the big thing is you're going to submit it as a digital format. No big surprise there. So a PDF or a Word document with a link, or a Google Doc with a link that'll take me there. And so they have some resources right here. And here's this great, Pictochart, Canva, Glogster, Pixlr. These are a whole bunch. Google Slides, Google Draw, and there's a link here that takes you to a whole bunch of tools. And while that's loading, I'm going to pop over. This was the article I linked to, very similar to the site that's loading right now. It kind of goes through and it talks about all the different infographics. So Canva is really popular. Google Charts, PictoChart is really popular. Infogram. So it just goes through lots of different ways you can make them. And Canva is really one of the most popular ones. And then also PictoChart is the other really big popular one. So I just wanted to kind of give you a link to like a top 10, because this resource right here, 321 free tools, that's a lot, right? That's a lot to go through and scroll down. But I can scroll for days, and you guys can see that there's so much. It's a little overwhelming, but there was a lot of great information in there. So that's a site you could kind of spend some time looking through. So that assignment's coming up in 2 weeks. But for this week, let me bounce back over to the assignments. You have your 2 discussion posts. Your initials due on the 1st, and then next Sunday, your responses are due. You have your collaborative activity, which Kevin is the lead on, and then you have your research paper that is due next Sunday night. As always, if you have questions, let me know. Here are the emails. I think you guys we've worked that out. And one last thing, I know it's getting a little long, but you guys are really doing well on Twitter. So here's my Twitter feed right now, and I just wanted to show you a couple quick things. If you pop over your account, you can make lists. That's really helpful to make lists. So you can categorize people from your district, people from neighboring districts, people from your school. And so it's really nice to make a list there. But even once you do that, sorry, let me go to my home here. You can see that there can be so much. And so one thing I want to show you is a tool called TweetDeck. And if you have a Twitter account, you have a TweetDeck account because they're owned by Twitter. So tweetdeck.twitter.com. And what it allows you to do is set up these columns so you can see a hashtag of fall Q. These are any tweet that has the hashtag fall Q is going to be right there. CapQPLN, which is the Sacramento network for Q. So these are people that are actually live around me, which is nice to kind of know, what's going on with there. And then, this is my school's hashtag, We Are Chilton. And so it's really easy to see kind of tweets that are important to you. Notifications, if someone tags me, mentions, if someone is at me, if I schedule tweets, so you can use the schedule tweets. So it's a really good tool. So as you're using Twitter, if you find it a little overwhelming, this is a tool that can help you simplify it a little bit. And so that is week 3. I know this is a lot, but as always, reach out to me if you are struggling with anything, and have a great week.